Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Terry Talk. Want to talk today about the latest incarnation and the latest implication of the Working for Workers Act passed in the province of Ontario, Working for Workers Act 2022, passed this year. The latest impact, which we know is impacting other jurisdictions across not just Canada, North America, the world, electronic monitoring of employee activities. That sounds kind of ominous, doesn't it? Basically, here, I suspect it's similar in a lot of other jurisdictions as well. If you have a workplace of 25 employees or more, you need to now have, it's the law, and it has to be in November, I believe it is, when you actually have to have this in place, have to have written policy on how you monitor employees electronically. So the first question of the gate, of course, is do you or do you not have a policy? And of course, tied to that is do you or do you not monitor your employees electronically? So we'll get into that in half a second. So if you do have a policy or if you do monitor your employees electronically, the law now stipulates that you have to say how and under what circumstances electronic monitoring may be occurring. You also have to disclose in that policy how the information is going to be used. And of course, like with any policy, you have to make sure that you lay out the date and the date of any changes or revisions to the policy. So what are some of the examples of this? So first of all, and a lot of you out there may have fleets, trucks, cars, whatever. GPS tracking is an example of electronic monitoring. If you currently do that, you don't have a policy, you need to have one. The other one is throughput. Say, great example is grocery stores. So the throughput of number of items through at a checkout as an example. The other one, this one's probably going to hit home for many of us. The websites that you may visit during the course of a work day using the organization's computer and servers and etc. So this latter one's really kind of interesting. Maybe in the course of a day, I think many people do this. I want to go and check something on Facebook as an example, or Instagram, or your favorite social media site as an example. Maybe you need to check out the kids' soccer schedule or hockey schedule, or you need to coordinate when you're going somewhere, what's happening with respect to an evening event or something like that. Not unusual to, I got to check on that real quick. The key is all of this is free game for employers to have access to and keep track of. Again, they now need, as an employer, you now need to have a policy. So the question is, why do this? Well, obviously with GPS tracking routes, you're looking for efficiency, throughput studies, productivity, getting data on when people maybe get distracted at work. I can see a million different implications that are incredible data that you can get that can actually be really helpful for creating better workplaces. Naturally, most of us go to the point of, well, it's Big Brother watching us and whatnot, and there's an element of that. I like to focus on the benefit that can come from this, but bottom line is some people can see that there's a downside to this. So how do you get around that? Transparency. Let's be open on this one. If you don't have a policy and you do track, you need to get one. Or if you haven't been transparent, you shouldn't need a law to comply here, right? I mean, this goes back to some of the other issues around, the right to disconnect. You shouldn't have to have a law to have a good policy that says, hey, listen, chill out, take some time out. You don't need to respond right away. What you're really saying, if you're monitoring people and you're not telling them, is we don't trust you. Is that really the message you want to send? I have yet to see any successful relationship in humankind that does not have at its core trust. It just can't have it. You can't have a successful working relationship without trust. It's foundational. So if you're monitoring, and again, I can see lots of great reasons why you might be monitoring things for improvements, for quality improvements, efficiency. I can get all those arguments. I can also get the arguments that say it can be used if in the wrong hands or for the wrong purposes. 100% we can get that. So let's be transparent. At ARIA, we believe everyone deserves a great place to work. Open, transparent environments are great places to work. Share your logic, share your reasoning. That's both parties, employers. listen, we do this for the following reasons. Here's our logic. Here's our reasoning. Employees, here's why we like or dislike what you're doing. Listen to concerns, have a dialogue, create a workable solution to this. Let's not wait to get this legislation. It's just weird for me that we have to legislate this stuff. Hiding things in organizations or in any relationship never results in anything good. So remember, let's check in on how we're doing. Let's check in on our employees. Not let's check up on them. Okay. How are you doing? Not what are you doing? Employees want to feel trusted. They want to feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves. And having a policy now just because of law, yeah, you know, it's the right thing to do. Let's be open. Let's be transparent. Let's get back to purpose. Let's get open dialogues inside our organizations and not rely on the government to have to bring in, quite frankly, our seemingly odd pieces of legislation. If you have to respond to legislation, you probably have an engagement problem, you probably have a productivity problem, you probably have high turnover. And in a world today where there's so much pressure on talent and the lack thereof, can you really afford to not do the right thing? As always, we'd love to hear your comments. Don't forget, we'd love for you to subscribe, hit that subscribe button as well. And we will look forward to see you on the next Terry Talk again. Let's see some comments. Love having those conversations. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.